Welcome to the Watchdog Report. My name is Ed Ciffone, President of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown and the Yorktown Watchdog. That's how I like to open the show. I got this a long time ago. It's great. Okay, folks, I'd like to start off tonight, welcome you to the Watchdog Report. Now, the United Taxpayers of Yorktown started in 1976. So this year makes our 40th year our organization's been started. And what we do, our mission is to give information to the public on taxes and bring up certain issues concerning the taxpayer. And I've been doing this show for about 9 years, and my director was Dennis Tate. Dennis moved to South Carolina, so I have a new director, Mike DeLuca. I want to thank him for helping me out. We haven't done a show in this studio for a long time. So again, in 1994, our school taxes, this is how I started, went from 5.8% to 16.4%. Without any reason. It was in the newspaper, and I got 400 people to go to the town hall, about 600 people to go to the school, and that's how we started, again, the rebirth of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown. So let's start with some of the issues tonight. And you see my man there, Nick DiTomaso. Nick died about 2 years ago in May. And him and I were buddies, and we did our shows together. He had also the senior forum. I really miss him. And we've been fighting for taxes for a lot of years. So this makes probably my 25th year of fighting taxes, going up to Albany, going down county, going to our local town and school. So let me start off, folks, in the town of Yorktown. We just had an election for supervisor between Michael Grace and Vishnu Patel. Michael Grace was the incumbent. He won by 400 votes. Vishnu Patel stayed as councilman, and in the same election, they elected two new board members from the Republican Party. So now the makeup of the town board is 4 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Now, I've been going there a lot of times, and now it's like the board is made up of bullies and puppets. Because whatever Michael Grace says, it looks like these 4 guys, these 3 other guys will just say like a rubber stamp. So that's what we're dealing with in Yorktown. Now, we had a lot of issues. The first one was in December was the budget for the town of Yorktown. Now, I've always done the budget with Don Roberts, one of my members, until last year. Now, it was supposed to be on a Wednesday. They changed it twice, and I was in Florida last year because I was supposed to come back on time for the budget hearing. And then they changed it because they went to the auditors of the town's Christmas party. Now, I'm going to talk to you about cronyism and things that happen. Now, the auditors during $1 million mistake, what I just try to explain to you where it was 5% to 16% difference. The school fired him, the town kept him, and now they came back to the town with a different name. same auditors with a different name. All right, so let's start with the budget hearing. Don Roberts goes up there and he says to them that the UTY gets no respect. And I was at the town board meeting, I'll tell you about it. If I wore a red tie and with my white hair, I said the same thing. The UTY doesn't get respect and I don't get respect. So during the budget hearing, now folks, this mainly goes to Yorktown. I'll see if it's going to go into Peekskill. But they call something where you have an account of money called a fund balance. And there's 4 different fund balances. The one I want to talk about tonight is the unappropriated fund balance, or money that's not assigned to anything, okay? So this is how we presented a budget. The 2016 proposal to reduce the taxes for the Yorktown people, unassigned fund balance in the general fund was $5,277,000, and even put the page number, page 8, okay? Then you have unassigned fund balance. Now, we have 3 things: the general fund, the library, and the highway. The highway didn't have any surplus money, but the library had $605,000. It didn't take a nickel out of that to lower the budget. All right, then we had, we're going to talk about Granite Knolls. Granite Knolls is a piece of property that the town bought for $2.7 million. And then he had to pay taxes on it of $150,000 each year. So it came out to $3 million. All right. So what they did, we went through all these things about Granite Knolls and Spectra, the gas line people, that they wasn't going to put the gas line there because it's a field with kids around it, stuff like that. So then the town board had a special meeting, executive session, and came out and gave Spectra the permission to dig up and change the pipe. There's 2 pipes. One's 30 inches, one was 26. The 26 they're going to make into 42-inch gas pipe. All right. So what did the gas company do? They gave the town $1.5 million that hasn't been used yet. Okay, so now you see it's starting to add up. $5,600,000, $1.5 million. And then we have on page 38 in the contingency in the budget, there's another $100,000. All right? So when you add all that stuff up, it comes to $7,489,016.37. Did they lower the budget by using any of this money? No. Last year, when you do the budget, the most effective thing is the tax rate. Everybody's assessed for their homes are assessed. And the tax rate, the more your house is assessed, the more you have to pay. So the tax rate last year was 4.85. So if your house is assessed at $10,000, it'd be like $400 increase in the town, okay? This year it went up 1.7%, 1.79%, okay? It's still under 2%. But folks, now the tax levy and the tax rate are 2 different things. But the tax levy, we had to collect with revenue and expenses, $356,000. So out of that $7.4 million, if they would have used $356,000, it would have been a 0 budget. So that's the first thing I want to start off. And that's how we went to the town, and they didn't do anything for us. They didn't lower taxes. Now I want to get to Granite Knolls. Now, you got to understand, we had an election the supervisor used this with my picture and Vishnu Patel saying we're not telling the truth, that the moving of the highway garage, this is what he wants, revitalization. There's an old highway garage on Front Street. He wants to move it to the sewer plant. Now, they try to get a grant and they use $4.8 million as a starting point. But as there was videos of the supervisor with heads of the department, they said the two buildings combined would be recreation building and the new highway garage was 62,000 square feet. And then they said, how much would it be for a square foot? So it's $100 a square foot. So that's $6.2 million. So now this was, it says paid for by the committee to elect Michael Grace. So now it said here it wasn't going to cost anything. So they said they were going to get money from the state, maybe $2 million, and we have to match the grants. Well, and he said that the Senator Terrence Murphy was going to get him the money. Well, anyway, it didn't work out. So they're starting with zero money to move the garage. So what they're saying that this garage that's there on Front Street, if they move it to the sewer plant, they would take down the old building after they move the sewer plant, the highway garage, and they would sell the property for $1.5 million. So he's trying to make up at least $4.8 million, where it's really going to cost $6.2 million. So now he's a lawyer. So he had talked to another lawyer. I was at a work session, and he says to the lawyer, "You must be a lawyer because you talk a lot, you say a lot, but I don't understand what you're talking about." And that is precisely what Michael Grace does. He talks and talks and talks, and you never know what the right thing is. So, as the president of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown, we foil information. So I said, he used my picture, and I didn't give him my permission to use my picture. So that's another one. So that's one big issue. They didn't get the grants, and they're still pushing for it. I don't know how they're going to pay for it, but he don't stop. Now he's got 4 votes. Overnight, they could pass it, and the taxpayer won't even know what hit him. Okay. Now, let's go, before I go to another issue. Now, this is the Inquirer. See this gentleman here? Okay. He is a judge from Somers. Supervisor Grace fired the town attorney. She was there about 6 years, Jeanette Costa, and hired this guy, Michael McDermott. Now, in the article that is written by, it's unbelievable. It says that McDermott was the judge in Michael Grace's son's cases for about 1.5 years. So then all of a sudden he decides, the judge, not to do the cases anymore, and he brought in somebody from Cortland, Judge McCarthy. But it says here that Judge McDermott, who's now the attorney for the town, gave a campaign contribution to Michael Grace. He did his son's stuff, where his son got a lot of probation. He got a chance to work, but his son was a hardened criminal. He just doesn't want to stop breaking the law. He stole cars. This last time he broke into somebody's house. But anyway, now if you want to call it a conflict of interest or a payback, okay.
Just like Granite Knolls when they got that 1.5 million, I thought it was a bribe. And they all got mad because for almost 2.5 years, all the people that were against the pipeline went to all these meetings, and we finally had a resolution that they wasn't going to put the pipeline in there. They wasn't going to have a pigging station, which is a cleaning station, which could send off poison in the air. So now, since they paid off the town, now they're going to do it. Now, as my understanding, I really don't understand, was another $62,000, I think, the gas company is going to give the town for not putting up a road where they did it. Now, you got to understand this ball field. The town bought this stuff, like I said, for almost $3 million. Michael Gray said they were going to put a ball field there after they cleaned it up. That was a lie. So what I'm telling you, that the supervisor of the town lies a lot, okay? And every time he gets caught in a lie, he gets really nasty, and he lies some more. So let's go. So that's the judge. That's going to be the attorney of the town, who did his son's cases, and it's got to be a conflict of interest, okay? But anyway, that's next. Now, we have a place in town called the Holland Sports Club. Now, at the Holland Sports Club were all these buildings, and it was a park, and people were going on there. So Michael Grace decided to knock down the buildings. Instead of bringing an outside firm, they used the highway department, which was Eric DiBartolo, was the highway superintendent. So they knocked down the buildings. It cost $124,000. So that was fine, until the DEC and the DEP gave the towns violations. Now here's the violation. No person shall conduct or operate solid waste management facility without a permit, which they did. They knocked down the stuff and they took all the stuff away. That's one. And no person shall dispose of waste in the state except by an exemption or department authorized site. I don't know where they put this stuff, so they got issues, violations. So when I went to Michael Grace and I said to him, there's violations, he says there's no violations. So what he had now, he had the new highway superintendent, Dave Paganelli, finished the work. So they had to dig up all this stuff, they had to sift all this stuff, they bought a special machine to screen everything. So now it's total $174,000. And I still didn't get all the information from the FOIL. Now, freedom of information law really helps you a lot when the governments just lie to you outright, okay? So this is really important, that the kids would have been playing on there with contaminated soil. It took them a long time to get rid of it, and I don't know if they're done yet, but they have a chain across the road where you can't use it. But folks, that's another one. And you know, it's taxpayers' money. All this stuff is taxpayers' money. And with all the money they have in surplus, they shouldn't have raised taxes last. Oh, and the other thing about last year, when the tax rate was 3.85, they didn't spend $1.4 million. So that only proves they didn't have to raise taxes. And again, it proves that they didn't have to raise taxes this year. Now, they have a controller, they have a supervisor who comes out with the budget. They go to all the department heads, see what they want, and they have a hearing on the budget. We go up there, I don't know how many years we've been going, 10, 15 years, and they do the same thing. they don't reduce the budget by a nickel with all this money. So here's I don't have a crystal ball, but he wants to move the highway garage. He needs somewhere between 4.8 million and 6.2 million. There's 7.4 million in surplus money. I don't know if he's going to take all of it or part of it, but he says not going to cost the taxpayer anything. Of course it's going to cost the taxpayer. It's all a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. We don't know what's going on. And the last topic I want to talk about is affordable housing. Now, in 2009, Westchester County executive who was running for election signed a settlement with HUD, federal agency, to have 750 units of housing, either rental or homes, to desegregate 31 different towns. So 750, 31 towns, comes out to like 26 affordable homes. So what's happening in New Yorktown? I'll do this guy, Mike DeLuca, Crampon Crossings. 26 homes, gave money to Michael Grace, got subsidized by the county, and he was against all this stuff when he was a Yonkers bigwig in Yonkers in government. So, so that's 26. So then we have Underhill Crossings, right opposite the highway garage. It was low-income housing, which they changed it over to affordable housing. Now, they get $50,000, my understanding, for every unit, either rental or home, for developing affordable housing. Now, one of the streets called Curtis Street, it's on a half-acre land. They want to put a building up there, stores on the bottom, and affordable housing on the second and third floor. Now, Astorino, the new county executive, has to do this. So he's going to do it any way he can. He doesn't care how many affordable housing units are in Yorktown. This one is the county bought the property for the developer to put affordable housing in there. For $1, the developer gave to the county. Now, this is all happening right in front of our eyes. So I speak on this, okay? And the last one you're going to hear is Crampon Terrace. Okay, now that's another, right next to Costco. They're gonna build 80 units. Now they're gonna take up the people who own the houses there. I guess the people don't care. They're gonna sell their homes to the developer. But there's another 16 affordable housing units. So we just added 26, 60, 12, and 16. So it's getting close to 100 here. Now, the thing is, affordable housing is not for senior citizens. It's not for police officers, firemen, teachers, okay? It's set, the settlement says, minorities, okay, you have to have less than you make $85,000 or less, okay, can only go into these places. So there's a lot of seniors that are asking if they could go down there, and they're turned away because of the settlement requirements. So why is our town having all these people here? Again, Marathon is the people who are doing the crossings, Underhill Crossings, and now on Keir Street, they're doing that. They gave money to Michael Grace. They must have gave money to the county executive. Now, you got to understand, they gave the county executive a limited amount of time to do these 750 units. They got 600, I think, already. And he's trying to do, But there's other communities that are not doing it. The ones that don't have any minorities, they're not even considering affordable housing. So listen, folks, it's coming down to the end. But listen, I live in Yorktown 45 years. I've been fighting for the taxes and being a watchdog with Nick and other people. Now you will see our graphics. Now my number is 914-245-1018 if you have any questions, okay? My email number is yorktownwatchdog@aol.com. And you will see on the screen also we have a website, okay? yorktownopengov.net. Now on that website you will see the links on find out your teacher salaries, your government people's salaries. We have my videos on there of my shows. I've done shows for almost 9 years, and they're all on there. So listen, I want you to do one thing. If the supervisor, because this is how we passed a bond issue, it's called a permissive referendum. They vote on it by the board, they put it in the paper. If nobody questions it, it's done. They did that for a $6.2 million bond issue. So folks, I want to thank you for watching. Ed Ciffone is here for you. The UTY is out there. And the last topic I forgot to talk about was courtesy of the floor. That means you have some time to bring up the issues. The town board now did away with it in the beginning. They have it at the end instead of having two. One at the beginning on agenda items and after at the end. So we're fighting that too. People have been putting stuff in the newspaper. We've said it in front of the board. And even one of the guys who just elected said he wanted two courtesies of floor. Now he backed down at that. So listen, folks, I want to thank you for watching the Yorktown Report. My name is Ed Ciffone. And listen, we will get together again. And it looks like Mike and I, my director, will be at least having a show once a month. So we'll have a little consistency again. When I had this show, it was a new show every week. All right, so listen, thanks for watching. Remember to give me a call for any concerns or any questions you have about any issues in Yorktown. And Peekskill, I want to thank George Ondeck for giving me a chance to be in his spot tonight. He got sick, he can't talk. I was supposed to be his guest. And George is the watchdog in Peekskill. Now, can you believe in Peekskill that they want to sue the town people when they had a 3.5% increase to a 5.9? That's another story. Thanks, George, again. Thanks, Michael. And good night, folks. We'll see you next month.
From the mountain to the prairie.